The Anti-Money Laundering Council, the Presidential Anti-Organized Crime Commission, and the National Bureau of Investigation filed 87 counts of money laundering charges against dismissed Bamban Mayor Alice Go, Sheila Go, Cassandra Leong, and 33 others before the Department of Justice on Friday, August 30. The agencies have also filed cases against Dennis Cunanan and the directors and shareholders of companies where the money was allegedly passed through. In a press conference, Department of Justice Undersecretary Jesse Andres says they were able to launch the money laundering cases just now because money laundering offense takes deep study and investigation. Andres says the agencies believe that they have a very strong and airtight case of money laundering against the dismissed mayor and others. Meanwhile, DOJ Interagency Council against Trafficking Prosecutor Benjamin Samson says Go was the alleged principal of the money laundering who used several entities in transferring her money. According to Samson, the total amount of money involved in the case is 7 billion pesos. Samson adds that this is just the first of the money laundering charges that they will file against them. The Philippine National Police has inspected about half of Kingdom of Jesus Christ's 30-hectare compound in Davao City as the search for fugitive televangelist Pastor Apollo Quiboloy continues. In a press conference, PNP spokesperson Colonel Jean Fajardo says that according to Davao Police Regional Office Director Brigadier General Nicolas Torre III, about 40 to 50% of the compound were inspected. Fajardo notes that the police are narrowing down their search on the specific areas of the suspected underground facility where Quiboloy is believed to be hiding.
We are looking at an underground facility na made out of thick stones, thick metals. We have a specific areas, but I hope you understand, hindi po natin maibigay yung specific so as not to telegraph po.
The PNP began its search on the Kingdom of Jesus Christ compound since August 24 to serve the warrant of arrest against Quiboloy and other sect members. Quiboloy and the 5 co-accused face child abuse cases before the Davao City Court. One of them has been under the custody of authorities since July. Quiboloy has standing arrest warrants for human trafficking issued by a Pasig City Court. A Chinese Defense Ministry spokesperson says the Philippines needs to immediately remove its Coast Guard vessel from the adjacent waters of Shanbin-Jiao, which the Philippines calls as Escoda Shoal. In a press conference, Chinese Defense Ministry spokesperson Wu Qian says China has indisputable sovereignty over the Nansha Kundao, which the Philippines calls as Spratly Island, and the surrounding waters. Wu says that a Philippine Coast Guard vessel has been unlawfully anchored at Escoda Shoal since April.
今年4月以来，菲律宾海警9701船擅自进入仙滨礁西湖，并长时间非法滞留，严重侵犯中方主权，严重违反国际法和南海各方行为宣言规定，严重危害地区和平稳定。
According to Wu, China firmly opposes the Philippines' behavior, adding that they have lodged strong protests multiple times. Wu adds that the Philippines' attempt to establish a long-term presence at Escoda Shoal has opened a Pandora's box that worsens the situation in the South China Sea. Philippine authorities continue to condemn China's harassments against its uniformed personnel on the West Philippine Sea. Wu notes that China is committed to properly managing disputes through dialogue and consultation, but patience has its limits.
菲方应立即采取行动，从仙滨礁撤船、撤人，恢复该礁无人、无设施状态。中方将继续采取坚决有力措施，维护自身领土和海洋权益。
Wu further claims that the United States is the main instigator of the South China Sea situation and the greatest destroyer of peace and stability in the region. According to Wu, the attempt of the U.S. to intimidate China with the Mutual Defense Treaty between the U.S. and the Philippines is futile and will only arouse greater indignation and resolve among the Chinese people. Beijing asserts sovereignty in almost the entire South China Sea, including most of the West Philippine Sea, even if such a claim has been effectively invalidated by the arbitral award issued on July 2016. The palace says the Philippines and Vietnam are expected to sign a defense cooperation agreement soon. According to the Presidential Communications Office, the agreement can help build the momentum for cooperation between the defense and military sectors of the two countries. On Friday, August 30, Vietnam Minister of National Defense Phon Vun Giang paid a cordial visit to President Bongbong Marcos in Malacanang. The Presidential Communications Office says that according to Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr., Fon's visit to the Philippines will further enhance the ties between the two nations with the signing of the Defense Cooperation Agreement between Manila and Hanoi. The president earlier said that Fon's visit signifies deeper ties of the country with Vietnam. Marcos also noted that the ties of the two countries continue to progress in areas of defense cooperation, security cooperation, maritime cooperation, and trade. The defense pact between Manila and Hanoi comes amid an ongoing dispute between claimant countries and China, which asserts ownership over nearly the entire South China Sea through its 10-dash line. President Bongbong Marcos says the Philippines' ties with Vietnam will further deepen following significant developments between the two countries' relationship. During the courtesy call of Vietnam Minister of National Defense Phon Vun Giang in Malacanang on Friday, August 30, the president says Phon's visit to the country marked a very significant point in the history between Vietnam and the Philippines. The president says that the country has continued to progress in its relationship with Vietnam, emphasizing their formed ties regarding diplomatic connection, defense cooperation, security cooperation, maritime cooperation, and trade. Meanwhile, Phon extends his gratitude to Marcos and the Philippine government for the warm welcome accorded to him and his delegation since their arrival to the country. He also expressed his gratitude for Marcos's visit in Vietnam back in January 2024, which opened up new opportunities to further promote and innovate the strategic partnership between Vietnam and the Philippines in various areas. Phon also emphasizes the very good interactions and exchanges between the Philippines and Vietnam, especially the Navy-to-Navy discussions of the two nations. According to Phon, the Philippines will further play a very active and dynamic role to contribute more to the ASEAN community. Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa calls Lieutenant Colonel Jovi Espenido's claims about a quota and reward system when the lawmaker was still chief of the Philippine National Police as concocted and scripted. During the House of Representatives Quad Committee hearing on extrajudicial killings on August 28, Espenido talked about the quota and reward system within the PNP under the leadership of de la Rosa. In an interview on Friday, August 30, the former PNP top boss seems incensed by Espenido's allegations and asserted that someone recruited the former police chief of Albuera town in Leyte province to face the congressional probe. De la Rosa says that he has never given any monetary consideration or monetary reward for any accomplishment done by the PNP. The senator also denies Espenido's claims, saying that money from Philippine offshore gaming operators, small-town lottery, and intelligence funds were used to reward police officers who implemented the Duterte administration's anti-drug operations. According to De La Rosa, these claims are concocted and scripted, designed to connect the problems of pogo, war on drugs, and the supposed extrajudicial killings with each other. De La Rosa also points out that the term pogo was not yet popular back in 2016 when he gave Espenido the assignment to implement the Duterte administration's campaign against illegal drugs. Espenido was recognized for taking down the illegal drug trade in Leyte's Albuera town that was purportedly operated by Kerwin Espinosa. He was likewise behind the filing of illegal drug trafficking and illegal possession of firearms complaints against Espinosa and his father, then Albuera Mayor Rolando Espinosa Sr. Espenido was also the one who convinced Espinosa Sr. to execute an affidavit and identify government and police officials who supposedly provided protection to his son's illegal drug business, which was deemed the biggest in Eastern Visayas. But Espinosa Sr. was killed during an alleged shootout inside a sub-provincial jail in Baybay City, where he was later transferred to face the criminal charges. The Philippine Statistics Authority assures the public of the continuous issuance of national IDs despite the termination of contract with a supplier. In a statement, the agency affirms the public of their commitment to deliver a reliable and secure national ID system. The agency also ensures the public that every registered person will receive their national ID. The Philippine Statistics Authority advises the public that different formats of the national ID are also available for registered persons and can be obtained from registration centers and their recently launched digital national ID. The Philippine Statistics Authority further says they trust the assessment and decision of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas to terminate its contract with Allcard Incorporated. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, through its monetary board, recently terminated its contract with Allcard Incorporated, the supplier under the Philippine Identification System of the government, for failing to deliver its obligations under the deal, which caused delays in the production and delivery of national ID cards. According to the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, the contract termination is subject to a pending arbitration. The agency adds that they will not disclose any additional information on the issue.